Welcome back, dearest listener, to Queen of Daggers, Heart of Fire, our experimental Daggerheart actual play podcast. Last time in Carmel, the carnival came to town. Quite a bit happened to our young poets. Made some wishes, said goodbye to a new old friend, protected a harmless old laundress from a crowd that recognized something in her, though they weren't sure what, and in the end wound up going their separate ways to bed. And as he found himself tucking in for the night, young Lemma remembered a book he'd been given before he left the Larksong Conjuries. The Heretics of Lacuna. Primer Cathania, the librarian, had just received it in a delivery of books and placed it on her desk, perhaps specifically for him. Lemma, you'd mentioned wanting to flip it open, and as you do, you see there's a handwritten note tucked in, and you see the table of contents. Which do you read first?
The handwritten note, of course.
It's a bold, slightly diagonal scrawl, but easy enough to read. Kith, you took me back with this one, gotta admit. Took me a minute to find another copy, but it's worth it if your kids appreciate it like we did. If they don't, pop 'em one for me. But sounds like they're a special pair, since you're asking. Stay angry. Zim.
I am now going to call her Primer Kiss.
Is that spelled CTH?
Kith.
KITH. Love it. Has this just been in the book the whole? Did you when this book was handed to me? Did you have this in mind, out of character?
Who can say?
Who can say? Fabulous. Love it. Okay. Lemma, I think, is relatively emotionally intelligent in certain ways. I do think he has a moment of realizing that a teacher or authority figure is a real person.
Yeah.
And his world slightly expands, his understanding of humanity becomes a little bit more nuanced in this moment.
There's probably that moment of, oh, it's a used book. This is a note belonging to some previous owner, before you realize, oh, Kithania.
Yeah. And also he feels like warm and also sad about being part of a special pair.
Why sad?
Because he's been rejecting that identification really, really hard. And he literally turns the page on that and looks at the table of contents.
As you look through the first few pages, you realize this book isn't exactly what you'd assumed it was, which was a history book, an accounting of historical heretics. It's a relatively old book, not as old as the art book. You'd think maybe it was written 150 years ago. The pages have that stiff, yellowed quality, but the text is flowery but not ancient. And you quickly realize it's some sort of satire, that the table of contents is a list of kinds of heretics: the heretics of anger, heretics of pride, heretics of ingratitude. And then each chapter is, in florid, old-fashioned language, some sort of satirical fake critique of people who are angry for very good reasons, who are individualistic and that's frowned upon, who want more from their world. And I won't make you roll for it because this would catch your eye immediately. One of the chapters is clearly different. You see heretics of anger, heretics of pride, heretics of ingratitude, heretics of hope, heretics of wastefulness, heretics of perversity, and your eye goes back up to heretics of hope. Even if you hadn't been hearing things about that word is not like the others. I'm assuming you flipped to that chapter.
No, actually, Asteria, I'd love to just start from the beginning and go page by page. No, I'll go directly to the chapter.
Perversity sounds fun.
Right. Let's go to Heretics of Hope. Yeah.
It is not even a page. So I will read it. I will read you that chapter in its entirety. I shan't bore the reader long with this well-worn topic. Yet these heretics gave us at least the gift of that particular appellation, so it would be a cut heretical unto itself would your author to omit them entirely. Dear reader, whatsoever else you may do, please refrain from contriving surplus queens. Our reigning two are more than sufficient, and not after company, whatever charming new monikers you offer. Further, avoid cults that feature gambling and knives, as a rule. And then Heretics of Wastefulness follows.
Amazing.
I guess we're all heretics.
These heretics gave us at least the gift of that particular appellation. Meaning the appellation heretics?
It's a reasonable interpretation.
If only you had read this 2 days ago.
Or the appellation hope. But hope is not an appellation, it's a concept. Lemma mentally texts Evelyn.
Fantastic.
And thinks, Evelyn, I have a question for you. You up?
It's you up, question mark.
Yeah.
Evelyn is right there. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Hello. I can't sleep. Can you?
Lemma just sort of like nods to himself and says, I'm reading a book that Cathania gave me. And he just recites for her what he's read. And says, do you think the phrase that particular appellation refers to heretics?
Evelyn goes off on a sort of self-monologue diatribe about syntax and sentence structure, only to conclude, I think it must refer to heretics, that these heretics of hope coined the term heretics for others. Though I will make a roll on it, if that's better.
Wait, let me look at your sheet. With too clever by half,
Immediately.
I will give to you that, yes, the book is about heretics. He's saying, I cannot leave out the trope namers.
Yeah. The reason this book exists.
These are the real-life heretics that we all know about, clearly. So I have to mention them, since I'm modeling and pretending that all these other people are comparable heretics.
And the rest of the book, the tone of the rest of it, is it like this or
It's like a parody. It's light and frivolous. It pretends to say one thing and means another.
so one must assume this chapter does as well.
Yes. Or this chapter, the writer acknowledges that they are treating something that is beyond their scope. But they acknowledge a reality of which I had not been aware, and I think what we know from this is that when this book was written, the existence of further queens was known.
Is that how I would interpret it? She's speaking to herself, but also in Lemma's mind, because that's how Evelyn operates. But it certainly seems to express some sort of displeasure with the queens or resistance to them. Our reigning two are more than enough, more than sufficient, meaning, please, we don't want any more. I suppose I owe these people an apology. Whatever charming new monikers you offer, it's very tongue-in-cheek, isn't it? And it might be suggesting that the presence of further queens is something they are aware of.
And then, of course, there's the mention of cults that feature gambling and knives.
That does seem like the button on a joke, but
Fortune and the name of another queen? But what cults? We know nothing of a cult of fortune.
I wonder if I know anything about cults, about gambling, and with having anything to do with gambling and knives from my knowledge of history and such.
I will absolutely let you roll for that. First, please paint me a picture of
Well, I thought I'd use my well-read ability.
Yes. So, what might you have been studying specifically? Tell me a story.
History. Before Evelyn kindled, she needed to prepare for a life not as a poet. And so she is extensively well-read about communities and cultures, politics, histories, very mundane, non-magical things in the world. She grew up basically in a library with no friends, so she had all the time in the world to read about anything that piqued her interest. So I'm wondering if there isn't some sort of bell that is rung by putting those words together: cult, gambling, knives.
Yes, you may absolutely spend a hope to use your I can find that for you experience.
Oh, fantastic. I'd like to use well-read if it applies, which is
Oh, yes.
you have advantage on any rolls you make that deal with the history, culture, or politics of a
Absolutely.
prominent person or place. I rolled 15 with hope.
Okay, that's good. You needed at least a 15, and the hope is good.
So I will take that hope token back for using the experience.
Yes. All right, so you specifically were thinking about the reference to cults, gambling, and knives. So as you said, Evelyn kindled a bit late. At first, no one was worried, but towards the end, people were a bit worried. And studying history while growing up within academia, a very good way to subtly prepare for an alternate life. And it is funny that history is really not extensively... I mean, we're not in a world of, movable type printing presses.
Mm-hmm.
It's not necessarily that, to your understanding, that things are actively repressed. I don't think is how you would think of it. Books are available, but not mass-produced. But I think it is striking you that there's not a lot of things that are known for sure, not a lot of... You're starting to appreciate, as you've left home, that you had more access to books than anyone else in this land.
Right.
And even for you, just as you were, there's just not as much about older history written down, even by primers. Primers have existed for a long time. Primers have a way of preserving their records. There are elven primers like Mantua who have been alive for hundreds of years. I think you found one or two writings of Mantua's, but not about history, not about the events of her life, things like that. But you did find something with drawings. Do you speak any languages other than... Do we have anything about languages? I don't think that's a thing.
I don't think it's a thing, but she would speak languages if there were languages.
Yes, I think you would have studied, if there were primers, if there are other languages you probably would have learned. Like if there's an Elvish, you probably would have studied it or something.
I'm sure she's familiar with alphabets and can piece things together. I doubt she walks around fluently speaking other languages, but academically speaking, it seems it would make sense that she would be able to recognize a language and be able to muddle her way through it from a, base knowledge.
I think there's a manuscript you found that you recognized as written in Elvish in a slightly older, that it was an older manuscript. It was a lot of the vocab you did not know.
Maybe it's only now that I'm understanding that it was about cults.
Yes. Well, and you certainly recognized the word queens, which you would not have found noteworthy. But there were drawings of people in a circle in robes, and there were images on the robes, and then like kind of an inset of the detailing. There were raindrops and a shape that I'll come back to, and a knife and cubes that...
With little pips on them.
You're very clever, so I'll tell you are dice.
Yeah. And the shape?
You recognize it as a plow. It's like a handle and a blade coming up. A plow, also known as a harrow.
Mm-hmm. Evelyn will relay all of the pertinent and probably a lot of the non-pertinent pieces of that to Lemma telepathically.
And I think from there we should perhaps transition to morning.
Lemma wants to do one more thing, and you can just very quickly tell me whether it's a dead end. Lemma would like to test this page for secret messages by like holding it up with a light behind it, seeing if it looks like it's been interleaved or if it's part of the original manuscript.
Put water on it.
Lemma like rubs some spit on it and sees what happens.
None of that does
Just
anything.
defaces a library book.
Evelyn cringes.
The note falls out.
Great.
And you pick it up and there's some writing on the back.
Lemma doesn't read it and goes to sleep. Lemma reads it.
It's an old receipt, like an old
Okay.
bill of delivery, in different handwriting from the note for Isambard rare books in Whitmorn.
All right. Lemma reluctantly says his prayers and goes to sleep.
Good night.
Lemma does the telepathic equivalent of a polite noth.
I can't hear that when you do. Never mind. Good night.
Oh, what? He didn't turn on his heel and walk out of her brain.
Just a formal bow.
OrLeon and Lemma, you wake very early to the door opening and closing, and you hear, "Boys, wake up! We should go before it is light. Wherever we are going." And Soren is there. He lights a candle in your room. "Can you go gather your things? Go wake the girls. I will get the cart ready."
Lemma slips on his boots and packs all of his things, which takes approximately 15 seconds.
And as soon as Soren sees that you're not going to argue, that you've understood and agree, he slips out again downstairs. He's moving very quietly for whatever reason. Seems fine. It seems like the Zephyr Court healed everyone and everyone's pretty much fine. He just seems anxious, agitated.
Lemma says to OrLeon, "We need to speak with Ginny and with Evelyn." Grabs it, flips his clothes, slips it into his satchel, and says, "It would take too long to explain."
Just listen to the first half of this episode.
God damn it, Lemma.
Inscrutable.
You're at least 2 points more inscrutable than you were before. Lemma does kind of deliver the digest version. It is a book that Cathania gave me. It deals with heretics. There is a part of it that is out of step with the rest, which Evelyn and I have discussed. It is a very minor part of the things that we need to discuss. Sort of implies that there is a larger conversation that needs to happen.
Evelyn is already up. She opens the door. "Oh, hello. Is it time
Soren came to fetch us.
to leave?
If we're going to make a decision, we have to do it now.
Is he afraid of something happening here? He's trying to leave before light.
He was moving quietly.
Perhaps we should get a little bit of ways out of town before we discuss things. I wouldn't want to be overheard."
The only reason we might not is if we think we might want to talk to somebody in town.
I don't think we need go too far, just to the outskirts and
Good.
discuss our options. We'll get ready. So Evelyn begins packing up all her things.
Great. Lemma precedes the group downstairs, and if there's like a continental breakfast that's unattended, he'll just wrap a couple of pastries for everybody in a napkin and pocket it.
Awful.
This is the part of the campaign where we do an hour on how everyone...
Yes. Could you check and
It's
see if they have
breakfast at
English
the end.
muffins?
We do need to make a decision.
Yes.
I do think, I agree with you, Evelyn, that Primer Hawthorne's resources of knowledge on this subject seem disappointingly small. But if there is anybody here who might be able to shed light on our decision, it might be him.
I just think we should talk first,
I agree.
without any other influence, including Soren. Maybe he can go for a walk. But let's get on the move.
And you do.
Evelyn will approach Soren and just say, we'd like to go to the outskirts and then pause for a bit so we can have a discussion. Is that all right with you?
So you find Soren, the stables where you left the cart and the horses. And he nods and says, yes, this is Vise, I think. Everyone here is fine, but it's best to get clear after causing a... You don't have to tell me what's happening, but I think after yesterday, the roads might be more dangerous. I don't know, but I would just like... It's almost sunrise. I want us to have as much daylight on the road as possible.
I understand. Our discussion will determine where we go next.
Good. Just let me know when you're ready.
Is everyone ready?
I'm up by the horses and I'm petting them and making sure that they're all good. I probably would have helped Soren get their bridles on and stuff. And I give one a gentle kiss on the snoot, and I come back to the wagon and said, yeah, if everyone's ready, then let's go ahead and head out.
And, Winona?
I look at OrLeon and I say, I think she has left Carmela.
All right, well, we need to be on ours.
All right.
For anyone who's looking, Soren clocks that you considered the innkeeper's daughter or niece or whatever an addition to the group, but says nothing. Asks no questions.
Well, Evelyn was asking, do we need to talk to Winona or speak with her? So I think Soren took note of that, because as far as he's concerned, she's just like
Just
an
a local.
intern at the bar.
Caption scrolls across the screen that says Soren will remember this.
Yeah, basically.
Master Soren, I think we're ready to be on our way.
That breaks through his tension a little bit, and he drops his head and smiles. Says, again, Ginny, just Soren. But
of course, Master Soren.
good.
And I, help usher everybody into the back of the cart. Before OrLeon gets on, I do stop you. I said, are you okay?
OrLeon hears the words, "Are you okay?" And the question itself feels like a question from another world, another time. It is unanswerable. OrLeon has lived lifetimes in this last day. He doesn't know who he is. He has lived, loved, and lost the piece of spirit to which he has always felt closest, most seen by, most held by. And he gets lost trying to evaluate his state of being relative to an idea of being okay. But searing into him, almost like a blade in his side, is this cutting awareness of the looming crisis that he and his friends and his world are facing. And he knows he must be here for this call, whatever it is. And so when Ginny asks him, "Are you okay?" this sting of reality jolts him from the fog of confusion that he is in, and he looks back at Ginny and sees in her one of the only other 3 people who understand that everything for everyone is suddenly unknown. And so, unable to articulate any of this, he looks at Ginny and shrugs and sighs, turns and walks onto the cart.
I just nod kind of knowingly and follow OrLeon onto the back of the cart.
Evelyn whispers in Lemma's head, "What's going on there?"
Lemma declines to use his experienced reader of people and just communicates to Evelyn, I think if we wait, we'll find out.
Soren is on his horse in a second and hurries the cart to the main road, the Oxgang Road, that would take you to the Hyperion Road, the longest one in Lacuna, or would take you back to the Conjuries. You've got a lot of choices. He pulls aside as the sun comes up near a cluster of trees, and you have a chance to talk.
All right. I'm just making a bulleted list. One moment.
Is that Evelyn telling us that she's making a bulleted list?
That was Katie. Sorry, I should have not
items
said it in
items to
dialect.
speak to.
Sorry.
Right.
It should not have been in dialect. It was just Katie.
I mean, it works either way.
I know. Evelyn discreetly asks everyone to either step aside or asks Master Soren to step aside, whichever it feels more appropriate.
He's staying with the horse
Okay,
and cart.
so we can go off and sit in a circle and chat.
He's looking at his map and such.
So before we start talking, I have this class feature called Wild Touch, where I can perform harmless, subtle effects that involve nature, such as causing a flower to rapidly grow, summoning a slight gust of wind, or starting a campfire at will. That's the text. So I'm wondering if I can sort of use that, if we get off the road to make like the surrounding trees and bushes and assorted shrubberies conceal us to the extent that they can from potential observers, so that we can speak more safely.
It's not really for long-term effects. It's more like a little magic trick. But yeah.
Just enhance it a little bit.
Right. Okay. So to whatever extent I can, then I'll go ahead and create a kind of grove for us.
Lemma, would you like to begin, or shall I?
Lemma sort of acknowledges that he will start, and he says, "Yesterday I was summoned by the Queen of Rain, who asked me to perform a task. That task was to re-imprison Glory using a tool that she gave me, which Evelyn now carries. I am uncertain if we should. I spoke to Evelyn. We are in agreement that we are uncertain. We are also in agreement that we cannot make a decision without the two of you."
How did... I can't believe you talked to the Queen of Rains. It's unfathomable to me. Just how did she suggest that we re-imprison her? That seems so vague.
She gave me a dagger, and
She wants you to
said-
stab her?
I believe she wants me to scratch out her name.
It would involve returning to the scene of the original incident, which of course collapsed, so I imagine there is some
We'd have to dig it
effort
out.
to be made there.
I mean, I'm strong, but I don't know if I'm strong enough to excavate the side of a mountain.
Well, the question is, first and foremost, is that what we wish to do? Is that the right thing to do?
Casmene didn't seem to think so, but
No.
she's not exactly from this plane.
As far as I see it, we have the choice to undertake this task and restore everything to the way it was before, as far as we know.
Mhm.
It's possibly dangerous. We don't know what it will entail other than digging out this cavern. Or we do nothing and allow this world to progress as it would. I'm, of course, inclined to try to find more information, if possible. But we have very, very few leads and don't know who we can trust.
And this is in my head. You know, where I come from, we are more have more affinity with the Queen of Harrows, but the idea of defying a queen's
Right.
request, whether it's the Rains or the Harrows, is unfathomable to me. So out loud, I say, to Lemma, would you defy a queen's request?
I do not know how it is possible that I could, and yet I feel ill at ease with how she asked. And if I imagine that I were an adjudicator and she and Glory were plaintiffs, she is not impartial in what she asked me to do. I felt as though when I spoke to her that there was no other possibility than obeying. And then she disappeared, and Evelyn happened upon me, and the reality of what I had been asked to do and the reality that you three are the only ones I can trust became very clear to me. I will do as you wish.
I put a reassuring hand on Lemma's shoulder, which I don't think I've ever touched Lemma before in my life. And I said, thank you for trusting us enough. I know that's not easy for you.
His jaw tenses and he
Mhm.
nods.
Yeah. And then mercifully, I let go.
Yeah, he relaxes.
I look over to OrLeon.
OrLeon knows he must think about the circumstances. He knows he must help his friends make the right decision. And he thinks of the last conversation he had with Cosmene in person. The one thing she has ever been able to speak to him in words in person. She asked him not to let them send her back, whatever that means. Which, of course, he understands what that means, even as he knows he understands nothing. He turns to his friends and he says, following the orders of the Queen of Rain, I know you don't understand this, and one day I will explain, but it would be like sending half of myself where she doesn't want to be, where she may have been trapped. And I know that I am not capable of choosing between her and everything and everyone else. So I can't say what we should do. And yet, something in me feels that even if we could go back, time doesn't work that way. There is no going back. What has been done has been done. And it feels as though we did not do it knowingly, but we were where we needed to be in order for this to happen, for this to be unleashed. And it seems somehow arrogant to believe we can choose to leash what we have unleashed. Those are my thoughts, such as they are.
Might I suggest we follow up on the only sort of lead that we have and try to find a bookseller in Whitmorn? Before we do anything, I think we should all be in agreement and just have it explicitly stated that speaking to anyone about this is inviting unknown problems that may be a little bit too complex for us to deal with. For instance, if we were to return to Larkstone and tell the Primers about this, they would make the decision for us. But this decision was entrusted to one of our own, not them. She could have spoken to anyone. Ginny, this will require some restraint with Soren. I know how fond of him you are, and I don't mean to be disrespectful, but we'll be asking a lot of him.
I don't like to lie. This is what's going on in my head. And lying to Soren is especially unbalancing for me. But I'm gonna protect my friends, so I nod emphatically. I'll keep it safe.
Thank you. Is there anything else?
I think before we embark on this course of action, we should acknowledge that it is extremely dangerous.
Indeed.
We are defying the explicit wish of the Queen of Rains.
Indeed.
And I think it a vast understatement to say that she will be not best pleased. We all content with that. Content also to endanger Soren, who we do not plan to tell.
That is the question as far as I'm concerned.
Yes.
Yes. Evelyn puts her fist in the circle between them and looks at all of you.
Lemma puts his in as well.
I'm gonna tell you something my nan once told me about why we live the way we live. And that's idleness is stagnation, and stagnation breeds pestilence. I don't think we should be staying idle. So, I'm with you. And put my hand on I hope everyone else's.
I can speak to Soren, give him the choice. Unless you'd rather, Ginny.
I'll talk to Soren. All right. Let me get out of the branches that surround us. Just like,
My friends, you approach Soren. Is Ginny the emissary?
Yeah, I'm gonna go talk to Soren. So where is Soren? What is he doing?
He is leaning against the cart,
All right.
keeping an eye out on the road as the sky brightens.
I approach Soren. Master Soren, can I have a word, please?
Map in hand, he turns back. He's clearly thinking ahead, does not even correct you. Ginny, yes.
We would like to go to Whitmore, which I understand is the exact opposite of Larksong. Given everything that's happened over the last day or so, we expect that it's probably more dangerous than usual. I just wanted to speak with you specifically in that I would understand if you did not want to go. We can find our own way there. But we're not going back to the countries, and we would prefer if Premier Mantua didn't know where we were going.
For the first time that you've ever witnessed, he almost looks angry. Not at the point where you say, we don't want Premier Mantua to know. At the point where you say that maybe he might not accompany you. Both brows furrow in, and his one good eye gleams with frustration. He says, yes, it is always dangerous on these roads, and now it is clearly more dangerous than before. Dangers that they do not teach you about. To the contrary, I'm coming with you.
I would honestly really like for you to come with us. I just wanted to give you a choice that you have an out if you want it.
This is fine.
And you would keep our confidence and not tell Premier Mantua where we're going.
I do not get involved in telling people other people's business. Have you ever known me to? That is not my job, and has never been.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Can you take us to Whitmore?
Yes, of course.
Thank you, sir. And I bow my head.
Everybody, come here. We need to talk. As you gather around, he says, all right, Whitmore, we're going. You need to listen. I'm not going to ask you questions. You won't ask me, unless it's immediate, unless it's safety. We're going the fastest way to Whitmore. We're not going to go up on the main road and down again. There are shorter paths. They are dangerous sometimes. Not like the wolves you see. There are people who know how to use the Vord. I have experience with this. He says, when we are on the road, if I give orders, you listen, yes?
Oh, yes.
Yes, sir.
And I will do the same for you. You are poets, I am not. If you tell me something, I believe it.
Thank you.
Jess, and same with me.
That is the least courtesy we can extend. You will be a most invaluable companion.
Yes, we are companions now. We are traveling together. We survive together. But you are the ones who will get any of us through this, so yes, I take you to Fitmorn.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But of course. And he smiles again. It suddenly seems like the Soren you know.
It's all gonna be okay.
He even pats you on the shoulder, Ginny. Though he rarely touches any of you. I think perhaps it's a gesture of, you're not kids right now. You're
Yeah.
my
I
squadron.
did just save his life like 12
And-
hours ago.
And he hops up on the horse.
Shall we?
Yes.
All right.
Climb into the cart.
Into the cart we go.
Keep a lookout, especially for shadows that should not be shadows.
Ominous.
Yes.
The route I am taking usually does not have this type of bandit, but after what we saw yesterday, I do not know what is possible, but is likely. We will keep an eye out in all directions,
Of course.
especially behind.
I can do that.
I know you can. Yeah! And you're off. Anything you guys are doing as we ride to, for safety purposes? Any, abilities or spells or anything you want to use to... You're going to be traveling definitely the full day, like the full sunlight. Soren is going to do what he can to get there by sunset. I might have to roll for that.
I am going to try and mend the tear in my gauntlet from the direwolf's bite.
Oh, I could help with that.
To mend my gauntlet? Sure.
I can repair small objects a bit at a time.
Okay.
Might take all day with prestidigitation, but I think I could probably do it.
Okay. Yeah.
Since I'm not much of a lookout, I don't know. If there'd be any other help.
I welcome your help. And I can, can go without the gauntlet for now in case something happens. So
Lemma, with the experienced life on the road, will just keep his eyes open for ways to smooth the journey and keep things moving. I think in particular, he unwraps the pain au chocolat, canonically the pain au chocolat that he took from the tavern, so we don't have to stop for lunch.
Oh, that was thoughtful. Thanks, Lemma.
Yeah, it's PA. It's spelled PAN because it's made in a little skillet.
It's a skillet cookie.
It's just a chocolate in a skillet.
It's just chocolate in the shape of a skillet.
Someone said, "Well, I've got this
Chocolate
pan.
skillet.
What do I do with it? Oh,
Yeah.
chocolate."
Yeah.
I am contemplating one of two things. I could either send my eye up above us
Ooh.
as a scout to kind of as far as very far above us, or kind of like hovering up and down above us to kind of see,
Or scouting ahead.
scouting ahead and behind, kind of.
Like circling.
I think that's probably the way to do it. Otherwise, I was thinking I could go into some sort of a scout beast form and kind of circle myself around and be closer to nature. But probably the eye is going to give us a better. I mean, it depends on how good its vision is. But
You seriously myopic eye.
I know I had that thought before. I was like, if I get a bad roll, it's like exactly. The eye has astigmatism or cataract.
Roll for glasses. Monocle, I guess, in this case.
Why don't I let's do the eye. Let's I will cast a floating eye above us.
I think I just have to rule that it just has your stats
Yeah, it's essentially a periscope.
because it's
a
not
remote
it's not
viewing
sentient.
object. It's super cool.
Yeah.
So we
Yes,
can negotiate.
I would like to take a posture. And anyway, I think I'm probably wanting. I think OrLeon he's still very much in his head, and I think he feels that he needs something to put his mind on. So he's going to go sit in one corner of the cart and send up his floating eye and just scout around as they drive for a while.
So I could help Ginny with her armor, or I could look at that Heretics book if Lemma was willing and see if I can find anything else in it.
Yeah, it's fine if you want to look at the book instead. I'm perfectly capable of mending my own armor. Done it many times.
And Lemma doesn't say anything. He just nods and passes you the book.
Yeah, absolutely. Do that, and I'll keep an eye on the road and see if I can get OrLeon to talk a little bit, because I know you're still not feeling good.
Right, so we've got OrLeon keeping an eye out, literally. And so you are reading the book?
Yes, I think that's a better use of my abilities.
What is Lemma doing?
Lemma's handing people pain au chocolat.
He's passing out the. He's being his regular Elegist self and comforting everybody just by giving them food.
Demonstrating life on the road.
Great. Then let us start with Ginny's conversation.
So I'm pulling out the stitching in the leather and pulling repair kit out of my bag, and I sit next to Lemma, or not Lemma, excuse me, sit next to OrLeon, and don't say anything for a little while I'm working, and then I, without looking at OrLeon, she left, didn't she?
Yes.
Did she tell you why?
She said something about how I'm not the only one. She had to find something. It's on her own path. She implied it was not forever, and I have never felt more alone. I don't know where she went. We lost the connection.
Well, it is my hope that she comes back soon. And I understand the feeling alone, and I very playfully bump OrLeon with my shoulder. I said, but you're not actually alone.
We all are in the end. But thank you.
There's a really cool trick you did with the eye.
OrLeon smiles for the first time in days. Ginny, you saw her first. You talked to her first. What? I don't even know what I'm asking.
She looked like you. Or a version of you. Definitely reminded me of you. Which has its own charms. Ending could be far off yet.
I'm not sure the end is a long way off. Not sure about anything.
I understand what you mean. I'm not sure of a lot of things. I'm definitely not the person I was when I left home. But whatever does decide it wants to come and end things not in cycle with the rest of the season, I'll be there with my shield in hand. And you'll be right behind me. And we'll find Cosmone. I promise we're gonna find her. And you know I don't break promises.
OrLeon softens for a moment, nods, and puts his attention back into the eye, feeling a surge of protective feeling and a need for vigilance on behalf of this group of people who are now the closest thing to family that he feels he has.
We sit in companionable silence.
Then we will turn to Evelyn. Evelyn, you've got this book. What are you looking for, first of all?
Well, I think, it seems pretty clear that that was the outstanding chapter, but I think she'd like to understand the whole thing better. Like, she's looking at it like I'm reading a book that is from this time period, and I want to understand what the where it came from.
Understand it on its own terms.
Yes. Yeah.
Sure.
To better understand the difference between that chapter and the other chapters and what it might be.
Yeah,
and the note, if Lemma has also given me the note, the things that were said about them enjoying it, like, and that we should get popped if we don't we don't like it too, so I think she wants to see what they saw in it and what they appreciated about it.
So unless you specifically removed the note, Lemma, I think it would just be tucked in there. Is that correct?
I think Lemma, as he hands over the book, specifically says, here's all the evidence. Here's the portfolio of evidence we have. Exhibit A, this note. Exhibit B, the book. Exhibit C, the receipt.
Evelyn makes an evidence wall in the cart with strings and pushpins.
It's that scene from Always Sunny. It's just...
There's a lot you're going to get, but I would like to roll for you.
Great. So I got 20 with fear.
Oh, with fear. All right.
So you're welcome for
Great.
the fear. I think that's the first fear we've
She's
given you
going
in
to
a while.
immediately use it to overturn the cart.
Yeah, and I'm going to take the token and hold on to it for a moment.
Oh, I did pick the number 12 for my strange patterns today.
Starting with the note. I don't think Lemma told you anything about it. You read it a few times. How long do you think it takes you to figure out who this is to?
Oh,
to figure
not long at all.
Yeah, immediately.
She reads aloud in her head. So the sound of it immediately cued her into this is to Cthulhu, plus she knows where Lemma got the book and who it came from.
And Lemma hears all of this.
Y'all gonna start talking out loud.
Then great. Then I think Lemma has to help you. If that's true, Lemma hears in his mind you getting stuck on a special pair because you cannot fathom whom that might refer
absolutely to true.
Other than Lemma.
Yeah.
Because this book was for Lemma. Who else could this mean? And I think Lemma might have to supply that answer.
This is intended for both of us, I believe.
Well, that's interesting. I wonder. Well, thank you. You see her sitting on her hands, as if it is the only thing that she can do to make herself stop thinking and talking to Lemma in her mind before she does something embarrassing.
Lemma senses that, and he, in what will appear uncharacteristic to others, but is in the larger context of his life actually not. I think he's walking alongside the cart, and he stops in his tracks for a moment, and you hear in your head, Evelyn, when the story of your life is told, it will be written that you did not understand how highly you were valued. And he continues walking.
Evelyn turns away from everyone because tears are welling in her eyes and she doesn't want anyone to see it. She has literally never been considered as anything other than an only daughter, the only child at the Conjuries, the only this, the only that, the only whatever. And it's a little much for her to even conceive of the idea that she is part of something larger. Despite having been the first to put her fist in earlier, that was more about others need this. So she's like dabbing at her eyes and trying to get back to reading.
For a moment, I was going to suggest that heals a stress for Evelyn, but actually, I wonder if I want to give you a stress. If it's
a relief. It's
so
not. It's not a bad thing. She just is overwhelmed. But yeah, that wouldn't be inappropriate.
No, but I can't.
I think if anyone were watching Lemma's affect right now, it's not what you might expect. He's actually gone very calm. I think one might assume that this would be a difficult, stressful, chancy thing to say, but he actually appears to be on very comfortable ground in thinking this. If anyone happened to be watching his face.
Ginny's just peeking out the back of the card, like, huh, that's weird, and keeps fixing her gauntlet.
By the way, and Lemma, by the way, sort of like continues the discussion without like acknowledging that super hard.
Yeah.
And he's he would like to kind of talk back and forth with Evelyn about whether there's code here, basically.
Yeah. In the note, you mean?
Yeah. And in fact,
Yeah.
he opens this up to whoever happens to be listening. He does speak aloud. And in particular, he's trying to decide whether the capitalization is stylistic or meaningful, and whether the fragment, as a rule, is significant in its separation.
Oh, in the book, not the note.
Correct, yeah.
Oh, about gambling and knives.
Yeah.
So, to be clear, what you ask aloud about, you're saying, is this code? Look at this capitalization.
Yeah, is there a hidden meaning?
Are reigning to.
And the, as a rule.
Yeah.
Soren's only contribution is that the 2 is probably capitalized just because it's referring to the queens, and people often capitalize her, she, in a royal or what the real people would think of as a religious way. People don't always do that, but it's very common. But his general attitude towards this text is that it's very highfalutin, and he's not very interested in decoding it.
That sounds right.
So, trying to figure out, Evelyn, was it you that had the imagery?
Oh wait, sorry. Your role was for more than just the note. I'm sorry. I should give Evelyn more on a 20, even with one with fear.
Hold
We
that.
got distracted by a lovely interpersonal moment. As for the book as a whole, you would note the authorship, that this is The Heretics of Lacuna by Esmer Ponimus, as told to V.A. Kenning.
Eponymous. I
Oh,
need to
I'll
see it
drop
written
that.
out.
How heavily is this based on the Devil's Dictionary?
I don't know what that is.
No, it's Ambrose Bierce. It's vibes with this very strongly.
V.A. Kenning doesn't ring any particular bells. So you grasp that you kind of disagree with Lemma's interpretation that the Hope chapter is out of place, because after looking through it, you're a very fast skimmer. You have excellent comprehension for a fast skimmer. You think part of V.A. Kenning's point, because it's written voice of the character of Esmer Ponimus, and the idea is that Esmer Ponimus has bad priorities about what to find objectionable in society.
Yeah.
That this book is Kenning's view of
Conservatives.
of Lacunan society stigmatizing the wrong things, and Esmer Ponimus, who is taking this concept of heresy and spending no time whatsoever on actual heresy, and instead spending all this time on clutching pearls over the wrong things.
Mm-hmm.
And that's sort of the function of that tiny chapter is, as for actual heretics in history, they were pretty silly.
Yeah.
Now back to the real heretics, the ones who make art, which is probably what heretics of wastefulness is. Can you believe these people who take
5 hours
rotten
on a
fruits
Saturday
and turn it
record?
into paint or what? That being said, you're not sure what V.A. Kenning thinks of the heretics.
Mhm.
You're not sure whether they think there were surplus queens. I think you clocked that contriving means making up.
Mm-hmm.
So Esmer Ponimus is saying the Heretics of Hope made up fake queens,
Yeah.
in addition to the 2 that everyone knows. The 2 who exist, we're not happy about it, even if the Queens of Hope is a nice name.
Uh-huh. So a second reference to the Queens of
Yeah.
Hope.
On a 20, you'll put together that this is a reference to the Queens of Hope. That there was what was maybe called a cult. You don't know if it was called a cult other than by Esmerponimus. Certainly there was a group that looked cult-like in those images you saw that said there were more than 2 queens, named Harrows and Rain the Queens of Hope, had imagery that included gambling and knives. And according to Esmerponimus, Harrows and Rain were not happy about this.
Mhm.
Whether we trust Esmerponimus on that, I don't know.
I just mumble, my Nan would hate this book.
I'd like to meet your Nan.
Eh. She makes really good tea.
Well,
2 further thoughts occur to Lemma. One is that Zim is probably Isambard, the owner of the rare bookstore.
Great, yeah. That's a great thought.
The other is that Esmerponimus, if it means eponymous, would imply that the speaker is a heretic, because it means titular.
Take a hope. Because that was a cool thing to say. I'm going to have you guys put your heads together and connect the 2 texts, the note and the book, and just like a little flavor. Zim signed off, stay angry.
yeah.
And the first chapter is Heretics of Anger. So you had asked about, like, what does it mean? Hope they appreciate this book like we did. That starts to paint a picture
Mhm.
that these are 2 longtime friends. Book is not from their time. This was,
Right.
Cathania's like 50.
They
This book
adopted
is-
it.
Yeah, this
into
is a book
their-
they discovered
Yeah.
when they were your age.
Our age.
We don't know if Isambard is a poet. We don't know if he has magic powers, but they knew each other. They've known each other for a long time, and they discovered this book, and it spoke to them as like the idea of being heretic, seeing problems in society, seeing people with bad priorities and ignoring real problems and stigmatizing people who called out the real problems, stigmatizing deviant behavior. It was very appealing to them, and clearly was like a part of the language of their friendship. And Cathania wanted the 2 of you to have this book. She hoped it might be helpful to the 2 of you.
Mhm.
And, she seemed that she was offering it to Lemma first. It was Lemma bait. But she clearly spoke to her dear friend about both of you and thought that there was something that both of you might value in this. And now I'm going to use that fear token I earned. Because,
Sorry.
You are also, this became a group conversation. You were all talking about this aloud. And this became so engrossing that
Oh, we missed.
I'm
what was
listing all
going
kinds
on.
of gambling. I mean, there's card games, there's that weird roulette game, there's dice games, which hopefully triggers something for Lemma.
so we're not traveling through a desert
Mhm.
with nothing as far as it's tree lined, and then there are hills. As we got into the hillier area, was actually where Soren seemed to be a little more nervous, even though trees sort of give more cover. But then he got sucked into all the conversation, and then suddenly you see something attracts your attention, OrLeon, to your magic eye. Is it in front or behind? I
It's
forget.
above.
Circling.
It's
It's
above,
above.
circling above.
And I had finished repairing my gauntlet by this point.
Yes.
So I put it back on.
Wait, I need to
Just wanted to make that clear.
check the text of
I
something.
have a feeling something's about to
I am at full armor
Something
capabilities.
is about to happen. Yes, you see through your eye, just up ahead, between 2 hills, pop up a curtain of darkness.
A curtain of darkness.
Yes,
How far away?
just about 30 feet. You're just about to
Okay.
pass it.
I yell, stop.
And Soren, true to his word, you said stop, and he stops. He does not pause for a moment. He asks to ask why. But what is it?
OrLeon, what's going on?
I see something ahead of us. Darkness.
Soren looks. It's close enough that now that everyone sees it now.
What on Harrow's green earth is that?
Is it something you've seen before, Soren?
Yes, everyone Be ready. We don't know how many there are.
Evelyn picks up her great staff.
He is about to say something else.
Arrow to the throat.
When
I swear to God, if you kill Soren. Not my
Close.
master Soren.
Not quite. Because while you were looking that way, another shadow has arisen behind you, and from it, a woman steps out and pulls Soren into a chokehold. He is currently vulnerable. She says, "All right then. I think we can be reasonable before my friends come out of their shadows. Why don't you tell us everything interesting you've got? No one wants their throat slit by a shadowjack."
I have a question. Where is she in comparison to where I am? I've hopped outside the cart at this point.
She is in the cart behind Soren.
I would like to try to put her to sleep.
All right.
I was also going to try something, but if you want to try and put her to sleep, I'll keep this on back burner because you might actually see me use magic for once.
You have to,
This might not work.
so you make a
I have to make a
spellcast roll.
spellcast roll. I don't know what the DC is, so you don't have to tell me. You can just
I
tell
don't
me
have
if
to
I
tell you.
pass
I
or
just
fail.
have to know.
Yeah.
You just have to know what it is, yeah.
So I'm going to make this spellcast roll. I'm just looking at my sheet. I'm like, is there any way I can add anything to this? And I don't think there is. Oh, I got a 20 with fear. And I rolled a 12 on my fear die, which is my strange patterns number, as I just said. So I'm going to gain a hope from that.
So, as this strange woman, curly red locks a-tumbling after her, slumps off the horse and cart into the road, Soren does not appear as relieved as you might expect. Before he even turns around, he yells, "Down! Down now!" and stumbles down off of his horse as a volley of arrows comes from both sets of shadows. And that's where we shall end this session of Queen of Daggers, Heart of Fire.
Thank you for listening to Queen of Daggers, Heart of Fire, a production of Hagdeal Gaming. If you like what we're doing here, come say hi on Blue Sky or TikTok at Hagdeal Gaming. Leave us a review. We'd love to know what you think. And remember, as a wise person once said,
You up?